The air itself seemed to hold its breath. Her ex-husband blocked the entrance to Yi's luxury apartment, a squad of armed thugs flanking him on either side. That smug expression painted across his face like he'd already claimed victory. Isla Monroe's grip on little Mia tightened, her pulse thundering in her ears so loudly she thought everyone could hear it. Yi stood motionless, weapon drawn, positioning himself as a human barrier between them and danger. Then he did the last thing she expected. He started laughing, deep and cold, completely fearless. Her ex's smirk wavered. Yi cocked his head to one side, and suddenly the apartment was bathed in crimson targeting lasers. Dozens of them streaming through the windows, from the balconies, from buildings across the entire block. Her ex's crew glanced around nervously, their swagger evaporating. Yi's tone was quiet, almost amused. You honestly believed I wouldn't position snipers on every rooftop within a kilometer? That I wouldn't station people in every stairwell, every elevator shaft, every entrance? You stepped into my domain thinking you held the cards. He moved closer. Lower your weapons immediately, every single one, or my team will redecorate these walls with your remains, and I'll sleep soundly afterward. Welcome to Afro-Korean Tailies Hub, besties. This is part 2 of the story. Please, if you haven't watched part 1, make sure to watch it. The armed men froze, turning toward her ex for direction. Color drained from his face, perspiration forming on his temples. Slowly, reluctantly, they began dropping their guns. Yi signaled, and his operatives materialized from the darkness, smooth and silent, confiscating weapons and forcing the intruders down onto their knees. Yi approached Isla's ex-husband with the lethal precision of a hunting cat. Stopped mere inches away. You committed 3 errors tonight. 1, you endangered my woman. 2, you threatened my daughter. 3, you assumed I'd let you live after that. Her ex tried to recover his composure, attempted to resurrect his arrogance. She belongs to me, that's my kid, you have no right to just. Yi struck him, one devastating blow that dropped him to the floor. Blood streamed from his nose. Yi crouched down, grabbed him by the hair, forced eye contact. She stopped being yours the moment you walked away. And Mia, his voice became a whisper, Mia belongs to me because I was present, because I supported Isla through labor. Because I've protected them every single night. You mean absolutely nothing to that child. And after tonight, you'll mean nothing to anyone. He straightened, gestured to his men. Remove him. I never want to see him again. They hauled her ex toward the elevator, his objections echoing until the doors sealed shut. The remaining men were escorted out methodically. Then silence returned to the apartment. Yi holstered his weapon, turned toward Isla. She was trembling, Mia sobbing against her neck. He reached them instantly, enfolded both in his embrace. It's finished. You're protected, I guarantee it. Isla pressed her face against his chest, struggling to breathe normally. He tracked us down. How did he manage to? That's irrelevant. He'll never come close again. Yi's voice carried absolute certainty. I'm relocating us tomorrow. Somewhere he can never discover. Somewhere you'll be completely untouchable. She stepped back, met his eyes. I don't want to keep running. His expression hardened. Isla. I want to stand my ground. I want to eliminate this threat permanently. Something flickered behind his eyes. Pride, concern, devotion. You don't comprehend what you're requesting. She held his gaze without wavering. Yes, I do. Then tell me what needs to happen. The following morning, Yi arranged everything. Legal matters first. His attorneys submitted emergency custody documentation, protective orders, evidence of her ex-husband's abandonment and intimidation. But he also orchestrated other arrangements. The type conducted in shadowy rooms with dangerous contacts. The type that bypassed courts and official channels. Isla observed him mobilize his network, witnessed the machinery of his empire in action, and finally understood just how formidable he truly was. She should feel frightened, should feel disturbed. Instead, she felt sheltered, treasured, like he would incinerate everything before allowing anyone to harm her. By afternoon, Yi brought her into his office, arranged papers across the desk. Your ex-husband is collaborating with the Chen organization. Taiwanese syndicate attempting to establish operations in Seoul. They view you as leverage against me. Hurting you weakens my standing, makes me appear vulnerable. Isla's heart sank. So this was never actually about me or Mia. Yi's face was serious. No, it's about influence, territory, your collateral damage. She remained quiet for several moments. Then asked, what's your plan? He studied her and she witnessed the internal conflict in his expression. I'm going to finish this, but first I need something from you. He circled the desk, dropped to one knee before her chair, clasped her hands. Marry me. She stared at him in disbelief. What? Not for security reasons, not for legal protection, not because of Mia. His voice roughened. Marry me because I'm in love with you, because I need you to be mine completely. Because I want to start every morning beside you for the rest of our lives knowing you chose me. Tears stung her eyes. Yi, your lifestyle is dangerous. Tonight demonstrated that. What happens if something happens to you? What if? Then you'll have protection, resources. My identity, my connections, my organization will become yours. But that's not my motivation. He cupped her cheek. I'm asking because I love you, and I need confirmation that you love me equally. Not the security I offer, not the safety, but me. Isla looked at him, at this dangerous, powerful, completely devoted man on his knees before her, and her answer crystallized. I love you. I've loved you since you rescued me from that blizzard. Since you coached me through delivery, since you gazed at Mia like she was your own. She leaned in, kissed him gently. Yes, I'll be your wife. Relief and something fiercer washed over his features. He rose, pulled her up with him, kissed her like he was suffocating and she was oxygen. When they separated, he touched his forehead to hers. I'm going to protect you both, regardless of the cost. She trusted him completely. And that night, after Mia was sleeping, after security was positioned and the building secured, Yi demonstrated exactly how deeply she mattered to him, slowly, thoroughly, until she forgot about danger and enemies and everything except his touch and the sound of her name on his breath. The following days felt surreal. Superficially, life continued normally. Yi attended business meetings. Isla cared for Mia. They shared meals together, entertained the baby, discussed wedding arrangements, but beneath the surface, tension accumulated. Yi was orchestrating something. She noticed it in his movements, the private calls he received, the endless nights working in his office. She didn't interrogate him, simply waited, believed in him. On the fourth day, a woman materialized at the apartment. Statuesque, stunning, sophisticated in a manner that made Isla suddenly conscious of her postpartum figure and comfortable attire. The woman smiled at Yi intimately, conversed with him in rapid Korean, touched his arm casually. Yi introduced her courteously. This is Yuna. She manages international ventures for my corporation. Yuna faced Isla, her smile calculated. So you're the person who's captivated Yi's focus. I'll admit, I'm astonished. He's never pursued domestic arrangements before. Something in her inflection made Isla's posture stiffen. People evolve. Yuna laughed. Do they really? I've known Yi for a decade. We've collaborated intimately on numerous projects. She looked at him. Haven't we, Yi? Yi's expression remained neutral. Yuna, we need to review the delivery. My office. They vanished down the corridor, the door closing between them. Isla stood in the living area, Mia in her embrace, feeling something poisonous coil in her stomach. Jealousy, inadequacy, the terror that perhaps she wasn't sufficient, that perhaps Yi would eventually realize he'd committed himself to a woman with complications and a child who wasn't biologically his. She attempted to suppress it, attempted rationality. But when Yuna departed an hour later, brushing past Isla with minimal acknowledgement, the feeling persisted. That evening, Yi discovered her gazing out the window, Mia sleeping in her arms. He wrapped himself around her from behind, mindful of the baby. What's troubling you? She wanted to claim nothing, wanted to embody the confident woman who didn't get unsettled by gorgeous former colleagues. Instead, she questioned, did you and Yuna ever? No. His response was instantaneous. She was interested. I wasn't. He turned her toward him. Isla, look at me. She complied reluctantly. Yuna is driven, calculating, and competent professionally. That's her entire significance to me. That's all she's been. He framed her face. You're the only woman I desire. The only woman I've ever wanted this way. Do you comprehend? She nodded, but he perceived the uncertainty in her expression, witnessed the fear, and it triggered something protective in his chest. He lifted Mia from her embrace, transported the baby to the nursery, settled her carefully. Then he returned, secured the bedroom door, and dedicated the following hour to proving exactly whom he belonged to. Afterward, as they lay intertwined, breathless and content, he murmured against her hair, you're mine and I'm yours. Nothing and nobody alters that. She finally believed him completely. The wedding happened quickly, too rushed for conventional planning, but Yi dismissed convention. He cared about making her his legally and officially before circumstances, with the Chen organization intensified. They wed in an intimate private ceremony at his family compound beyond Seoul. Just his most loyal associates and a magistrate who owed him obligations. Isla wore an uncomplicated white gown, cradled Mia while reciting her vows, and when Yi placed the band on her finger, when he kissed her like she was his entire universe, something within her aligned. This was authentic. This was permanent. His family attended, though they observed her with reserved, evaluating expressions. His mother was refined and distant, obviously uncertain about her son's impulsive marriage to a foreigner with an infant. But when Mia grew restless and Yi immediately gathered her, soothing her naturally, something in his mother's demeanor softened. Following the ceremony, she approached Isla, speaking in measured English. "My son has never regarded anyone the way he regards you." Isla couldn't determine if that constituted approval or caution. "I love him." The older woman assessed her, then nodded deliberately. "Excellent. He requires that. He's existed too long in shadows." She departed, leaving Isla contemplating what precisely Yi's existence had encompassed before she entered it. That night in their hotel suite, Yi revealed everything. They reclined in bed, the room darkened except for urban illumination, Mia sleeping in a nearby crib, and he disclosed everything. About his father who'd constructed the family empire on violence and intimidation. About his elder brother, designated to inherit but killed in gang warfare when Yi was 19. About how he'd been compelled into a position he never desired, how he'd been forced to become severe and detached and merciless to endure. About the individuals he'd harmed, the decisions he'd executed, the burden he carried. Isla listened without criticism. When he concluded, she turned toward him, traced her fingers across the scar on his shoulder. "You're not that person currently." He captured her hand. "I'm precisely that person. I simply conceal it better around you." "No," her voice was resolute. "You're the man who saved me in that snowstorm, who supported me through childbirth, who awakens at 3 a.m. to feed an infant who isn't biologically yours. That's your identity." His eyes shimmered in the darkness. "She is mine." The way he stated it made her heart compress. "I know." They made love slowly that night, quietly to avoid disturbing Mia. And subsequently, as she drifted toward sleep in his embrace, Isla thought that perhaps, just perhaps, they discovered their happy conclusion. She should have recognized better. The call arrived 3 days afterward. Yi was in a conference. Isla was home with Mia and 2 of Yi's guards stationed outside. She heard shouting. Gunfire. She grabbed Mia, sprinted toward the safe room Yi had demonstrated. But before reaching it, the door exploded inward. Not the Chen organization, not her ex-husband, someone else. A man in a black mask, moving with military efficiency. He seized her before she could scream, his palm covering her mouth, his voice low and accented. "Don't resist. We're not here to harm you, but Yi needs to understand he can't possess everything." He dragged her toward the window. Isla bit his hand viciously. He cursed, releasing slightly. She twisted free, protecting Mia with her body. "You can take me. Leave my baby." He hesitated. And in that instant, Yi's guards burst through. Gunfire exploded. Isla dove behind the sofa, covering Mia's ears, her body a shield. The confrontation was savage and brief. When it concluded, the attacker was deceased, but Isla was shaking uncontrollably. Yi arrived 10 minutes afterward, assessed the scene immediately, and went pale. He crossed to her, pulled her and Mia into his arms, examined them frantically. "Are you injured? Did he harm you?" Isla responded, "We're fine." Her voice trembled. "Yi, what's happening?" His jaw clenched. "The Chen organization, they're executing their strategy." He assisted her standing, maintained one arm around her. "Pack essentials. I'm evacuating you from Seoul." "No," she pulled away. "No more fleeing." "Isla," I said no. Her voice strengthened. "You promised we'd terminate this, so let's terminate it." He studied her, witnessed the resolve in her expression, and something transformed in his demeanor. "If I proceed with this, if I target them, it will be brutal, conclusive." "Are you certain you want that?" She contemplated her daughter, about the existence they were constructing, about the reality that she'd never be secure, never be liberated as long as these dangers persisted. "I'm certain." "All right, but you and Mia remain here, secured, safeguarded, while I address this." She wanted to protest, but she also recognized she couldn't assist his confrontation, could only trust him to return. "Promise me you'll be cautious." He kissed her intensely, deeply, like it might be their final moment. "I promise." He departed that night with 20 operatives. Isla didn't sleep, simply sat in the nursery observing Mia, waiting. The hours crawled past. Midnight, 2 a.m., 4. Dawn illuminated Seoul and still no communication. Isla's phone remained silent. The guards outside wouldn't provide information. She was losing her mind with anxiety when the elevator finally opened. Yi emerged, alive, mostly unharmed except for a laceration above his eyebrow and bruised knuckles. He appeared exhausted, like he'd visited hell and returned. But when he spotted her, relief flooded his features. She raced to him. He caught her, held her impossibly tight. It's finished. His voice was hoarse. The Chen organization won't be problematic anymore. Your ex-husband won't be problematic anymore. Nobody will ever threaten you again. She pulled back, looked up at him. What did you do? He met her eyes directly. What was necessary? She should demand details, should insist on knowing exactly what that entailed, but observing him, the exhaustion and darkness in his expression, she understood. Some things were better unspoken. Are you all right? His smile was weary. Now I am. The subsequent weeks felt strange. Peaceful but tense, like anticipating disaster. But it never materialized. The threats vanished. Her ex-husband disappeared, and rumors suggested he'd abandoned the country under circumstances indicating permanent exile. The Chen organization's sole operations disintegrated overnight. And gradually, carefully, Isla and Yi started constructing an authentic life. He reduced his work schedule, actually remained home. They established routines. Morning coffee together, while Mia babbled in her high chair. Neighborhood walks with Yi pushing the stroller like any other father, peaceful evenings after the baby slept, conversing about everything and nothing. She discovered more about him. About his childhood, his aspirations before being forced into this existence, the fact that he'd wanted to become an architect before his brother's death. She shared about her own history. About growing up in Miami, about relocating to Korea for university and meeting her ex-husband, about the dreams she'd harbored before everything collapsed. They constructed something genuine, something resembling home. But Isla also began noticing things. The way people regarded Yi when they ventured out, with fear, with deference. The way servers stumbled and merchants refused his payment. The way other men retreated when he approached. She'd married one of Seoul's most dangerous individuals, and everyone recognized it except her. One evening, they attended a charity function. Yi's business demanded appearances, social connections, the facade of legitimacy. Isla wore a green dress. Remembering this was how he'd first noticed her. His eyes had darkened when she'd emerged from the bedroom. He'd kissed her against the wall, careful with her makeup, promising that later that dress was coming off. Now they navigated the crowd, his hand at her lower back. People approached them, engaged in polite conversation, congratulated them on their marriage, but Isla could perceive it, the fear beneath the pleasantries. The way people calculated their words around Yi. The way men observed her, wondering how she'd ended up with someone like him. Then Yuna appeared. She'd attended the wedding, cold and professional. Now she approached with a smile lacking warmth. Yi, Isla, how wonderfully domestic you both appear. Yi's expression remained unchanged. Yuna, she addressed Isla, I'm surprised you attended tonight. I heard about an incident at your residence recently. Must be terrifying inhabiting Yi's world. Isla felt Yi tense beside her. Before he could respond, she smiled, not remotely. I trust my husband implicitly. Yuna's smile sharpened. Naturally. Though I wonder how long that persists when you truly comprehend what he does, what he's capable of. Yi's voice turned icy. That's sufficient. But Isla stepped forward, met Yuna's eyes steadily. I know exactly what he's capable of. I've witnessed him fight for me, protect me, love me, and that's all I need to understand. She slipped her hand into Yi's. If you'll excuse us, we were departing. Yi remained silent until they were in the vehicle heading home. Then he turned toward her. You didn't need to defend me. She looked at him. Yes, I did, because she was incorrect and because I meant every word. I do trust you implicitly. Something in his expression fractured. He drew her close, kissed her forehead. I don't deserve you. She smiled against his shoulder. Probably accurate, but you're committed to me regardless. That night, after returning home, after checking on Mia and dismissing the guards, they sat together in their home's quietness. Yi held her hand, his thumb drawing circles on her palm, and she understood wordlessly how significantly the evening had affected him, how much her support had mattered. 6 months elapsed. Life settled into something approaching normalcy. Mia began crawling, then pulling herself upright using furniture. Yi personally patted every sharp corner throughout the penthouse. He reduced his professional commitments, delegated responsibilities, prioritized family time. Isla started Korean lessons, befriended other mothers in the building, began feeling Seoul was home. But there were still moments. Times when Yi disappeared for a day, returned with shadows in his eyes. Times when she'd awaken at midnight finding him standing at the window, observing the city like expecting something. She never pressed, just embraced him, reminded him she was present, that he wasn't isolated anymore. One evening, Isla settled Mia for the night and discovered Yi in his office staring at a photograph. She approached from behind, looked over his shoulder. It showed a young man resembling Yi. Same eyes, same jawline, your brother, he nodded. He would have turned 35 this week. She wrapped her arms around him from behind. Tell me about him. And he did, discussed his brother for hours, about their plans, the life that was stolen. The guilt Yi carried for surviving when his brother hadn't. Isla listened, understood. He'd be proud of you, of the man you've become, the father you are. Yi turned in her embrace. I'm not Mia's father. Yes, you are. Her voice was firm. Biology doesn't define fatherhood. Love does, being present does. And you've been there for her from the moment she entered this world. His eyes glistened. She's everything to me, both of you, I know. She kissed him softly, and we're not going anywhere. That night as they lay in bed, Yi said something that stopped her heart. I want another baby with you, a sibling for Mia. Isla turned toward him. Are you serious? He nodded. I want to watch you pregnant with my child. Want to experience everything from conception. Want to build a complete family. She witnessed the vulnerability in his expression, the hope. Okay. His breath caught. Okay? She smiled. Yes, let's have a baby. He kissed her then, slow and deep. And in that moment, they both sensed the promise of their future together. Over subsequent weeks, their connection deepened unexpectedly. They discussed potential names for the baby they hoped would come. They planned their future, and Isla felt herself falling even deeper for this complicated, dangerous, utterly devoted man. Then everything shattered again. It began with a phone call. Yi was at the office. Isla was home with Mia. The baby was napping. She was preparing lunch when her phone rang. Unknown number. She nearly ignored it, but something compelled her to answer. Hello? A woman's voice, young, frightened. Is this Mrs. Kang? Isla's stomach plummeted. Only specific people called her that. Yes, who's calling? I'm calling from Seoul National Hospital. Your husband arrived 20 minutes ago. There was an incident. You need to come immediately. The phone slipped from Isla's grasp. The world tilted. She grabbed Mia, contacted Yi's second-in-command, demanded immediate transportation. The hospital drive felt eternal. Mia cried, sensing her panic. Isla couldn't breathe, couldn't think, just kept visualizing Yi's face, kept remembering his promise about being careful. Upon arrival, Yi's operatives already occupied the hallway, stone-faced. She pushed through them. Mia in her arms, demanded information. One of them, a man named Sung, stepped forward. Boss is in surgery. There was an incident, a targeted assault on his vehicle. Isla's legs weakened. How severe? Sung's expression provided the answer. She collapsed into a chair. Mia clutched against her chest and waited. Hours passed. Mia fell asleep against her shoulder. The sun descended. Still no word. Isla prayed, negotiated with God, promised anything if Yi would survive. Finally, a physician emerged, exhausted. He looked at Isla. Mrs. Kang. She stood. Is he? He's alive, stabilized. He sustained significant injuries in the collision, but he'll recover. Relief made her dizzy. Can I see him? The doctor hesitated. He's still unconscious, but yes, follow me. She transferred Mia to Sung, followed the physician down the corridor, and when she entered that hospital room, when she witnessed Yi connected to monitors, something inside her shattered. She pulled a chair close, took his hand, and waited for him to awaken. It required 2 days. 2 days of her sitting beside him, leaving only when Sung brought Mia, then immediately returning. 2 days of watching him sleep, listening to his steady heartbeat on monitors, praying. On the 3rd morning, his eyes opened. He looked around, disoriented, then his gaze found her. Isla. His voice was rough, broken. She leaned forward, tears streaming. You're okay, you're going to be okay. He attempted sitting up, winced. She pressed him back gently. Don't. You were in a severe accident. You need rest. His hand tightened on hers. Mia, she's fine. Sung's been helping me. Yi's eyes closed. I'm sorry. For what? For frightening you, for breaking my promise. She laughed through tears. You're alive. That's all that matters. He studied her then, really studied her, and something fierce crossed his face. I need something from you. Anything. His voice was low. I need you to take Mia and leave Seoul today. There's a property in Jeju. Private, secured. Stay there until the situation resolves. Isla pulled her hand back. No. Isla, no. Her voice was firm. I'm not abandoning you. We're not abandoning you. Yi's jaw tightened. This isn't negotiable. Excellent, because I'm not requesting permission. She leaned forward. You told me we were partners, that we were family, so stop trying to protect me by pushing me away. They stared at each other. Finally, Yi sighed. You're obstinate. I learned from the best. She kissed his forehead. Now tell me who did this. His expression turned glacial. Business adversaries. Chen associates. They want to damage me, then resolve this permanently. He studied her. You comprehend what that means? She met his eyes directly. I understand that I want my daughter growing up safely, that I want my husband returning home every night, that I want our life restored. She paused. Do whatever's necessary. Something shifted in his expression. When this concludes, I'm retiring, exiting this world. We'll relocate somewhere peaceful. Raise our children away from all this. Her breath caught. Children, plural. He managed a weak smile. You're pregnant, I can tell. She stared at him, placed a hand on her stomach. How do you? The way you've been observing me, the way you've transformed. The way you cried when Mia learned to clap. He squeezed her hand. We're having a baby. Tears spilled down her cheeks. We're having a baby. He pulled her close, mindful of his injuries, and I'm going to ensure we have a safe world to raise them in. I promise. Yi recovered faster than physicians anticipated. Within a week, he was mobile. Within 2, he was strategizing. Isla observed him work from their temporary apartment near the hospital, watched him coordinate with his operatives, watched him prepare for whatever was approaching. She didn't request details, just trusted him, ensured he rested, ensured he ate, ensured he remembered what was worth returning to. The final confrontation occurred on a rainy night in late autumn. Yi kissed her goodbye, held Mia, promised he'd return by morning. Isla made him promise repeatedly until he smiled and said, I'm not leaving you. Not now, not ever. Then he was gone. She paced the apartment all night. Mia slept peacefully, oblivious. Isla's hand kept drifting to her stomach, to the life developing there. Dawn arrived, no communication. The sun climbed higher, still nothing. Then finally the door opened. Yi walked in, exhausted, a few marks on his face, but alive, whole. She ran to him. He caught her, held her like he'd never release her. It's done, his voice was rough. It's genuinely done. No more problems, no more adversaries, we're free. She pulled back, looked up at him. Free, he nodded. I kept my promise. To you, to Mia, to our family. He pressed a hand to her stomach, all of us. She kissed him then, poured everything into it. Relief, love, hope. When they separated, he touched his forehead to hers. I have something to tell you. What? I meant what I said. I'm retiring. I've already initiated the process. Transferring authority, establishing legitimate enterprises. In 6 months, we can leave Seoul if you desire. Start over, build whatever life we choose. Isla's heart soared. You do that? Surrender everything. You're not everything. His voice was absolute. You and Mia and this baby, you're everything. The rest is just noise. She started crying again, happy tears this time. I love you. I love you too. He kissed her. Then Mia awakened, called out for them, and they both laughed. Yi went to retrieve her, lifted her from the crib. She wrapped her tiny arms around his neck, and for the first time in months, Isla felt like they might actually achieve their happy ending. 6 months afterward, they stood on a beach in Jeju. The house behind them was modest, comfortable, private. The kind of place where nobody knew who Kang Yi used to be. Isla was 7 months pregnant now, her belly round with their son. Mia played in the sand at their feet, chattering away in mixed Korean and English. Yi stood beside her, one arm around her shoulders, watching the sunset. Any regrets? She asked. He looked at her, then at Mia, then pressed a hand to her belly, felt their son move. Not a single one. She leaned into him. Good, because you're committed to us. I wouldn't want it any other way. He kissed her temple, and as the sun descended over the ocean, as their daughter laughed and their son moved inside her, Isla thought about everything that had brought them here. The blizzard, the fear, the danger, the love. It hadn't been easy, hadn't been simple, but it had been worthwhile. Every moment, every tear, every risk. Because ultimately she discovered something she never thought she'd have again. A family, a home, a love that was fierce and protective and utterly unbreakable. Yi tightened his arm around her. What are you thinking about? She smiled. Happy endings. He smiled too. This isn't an ending. It's just the beginning. And looking at him, at the life they'd built from ashes and danger and impossible odds, Isla knew he was right. This was just the beginning of their story. The dangerous kind, the beautiful kind, the kind that would last forever. If this story touched you, please like, subscribe, comment, and share to loved ones. See you in the next one.